Welcome back to the Vandy Sports Podcast alongside Joey Dwyer. I'm Billy Derrick as we are here on site ahead of Vanderbilt in South Carolina. Joey, it's kind of an ugly day, rainy day. I'm just glad it's not cold, so this isn't cold rain. It would be really ugly if it was cold here. But interesting feeling today. The vibe that I get is that Vandy's banged up. It's not even a vibe. That's a fact that Pavia and Alexander are not 100%. But other than those two guys, Colby Taylor and Quincy Skinner were upgraded to probable, which happens every week. They start as questionable. And I keep going back to just how banged up this team is. And again, I'm not sitting here saying that's going to, prevent this team from winning the game today. But, you get into the fourth quarter and you need a first down run from Pavia for 7 yards. Can he give it to you? Alexander, is he going to be himself? I think Pavia and Alexander, what percentage they're at, might determine the game. Because that's the engine. We talked about it. If they don't have those guys at full go, 100%, it's tough. But again, the defense is there, and I think the defense has another chance to go out and win a game for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I think Clark probably wishes he had the bye week a week earlier, and that's kind of what I look at and say, if Alexander had another week to heal, if Pavia had another week to rest, I think they would be in much better shape. But Clark has said those guys are both doing better than they were a week ago, and I think that's something worth noting. At least Alexander's doing better. I don't know if Pavia is, but Billy, I think it's more so than the collective effort from the offense. It's got to be, can you make the timely play today? I think this game's only going to be 20-17 or something along those lines, if that, right? It's going to be rainy. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be slick on the turf. I think it's going to be a really tough game to score in, especially with the way the way the defenses are playing in the last couple of weeks, especially the Vanderbilt defense. I think this is a game where Vanderbilt, if you get a turnover, if you get the timely score, you can go win a game like this. And it doesn't have to be a 30-point outing. It doesn't have to be Virginia Tech or Alabama. If you come out ready to play and you make the timely play and you turn South Carolina over once or twice and keep Lenora Sellers in the pocket once or twice, you got a chance. And I think that's what I look at and say, Vanderbilt could win this game. It's not going to be pretty, I would guess, but this team hasn't won pretty in a long time. So maybe this game suits them in a way that maybe it doesn't suit South Carolina with the way they won last week.
Yeah, if they just come out and play Vanderbilt football, I think they can win the game. But if there's one slip up in that formula, Clark has a formula to win, and I would assume it's every week he puts that on the board. And I don't know if you saw it from the video before the Texas game, the point total was 28 that Vanderbilt needed, right? And they lost 27-24. So the plan is there every week. Vanderbilt can win every week, and they've proven that to us every single week. But the margin is still small for this team. Like this team, we saw against Ball State, where there were some slip-ups early, and they fell behind, ended up getting the win. But I think the slip-up potentially today is if you let Sellers beat you with his legs, that's what makes it tougher. Because their offense, they're not going to sit back and throw the ball 40 times tonight. I'd be surprised if there's 40 pass attempts total tonight. But that's the kind of game Vanderbilt likes. What scares me from South Carolina is the combo of Sellers and Sanders. Rocket Sanders is a beast. He's probably the best running back Vanderbilt has faced this season.
Maybe not. Maybe compared to last week, not. But otherwise,
right. Jark was Hunter, but just in terms of within this offense, with what this offense can also do. Auburn Thorne was not necessarily a threat to run. I think the threat of Sellers running is what scares me about Sanders as well. They got good receivers. The pieces on offense for South Carolina are better than Vandy's, and that's been the case for a lot of games. Alabama, Texas, last week with Auburn with Jarquez Hunter. So that's what scares me, and I think again, Vanderbilt's defense has to show up. I don't know that the offense has to come out clicking 100% full go, but the defense does, and because that's what can keep them in the game. They kept them in the game last week. I know the offense went down and drove the ball down the field late and scored, but I think the defense today has to put up another effort like last week, or else you're putting the game up to chance.
Yeah, it does scare me a little bit looking at South Carolina's legs and the mobility of Sellers, like you said, paired with their already pretty adequate run game. I think it's something that Vanderbilt maybe needs to be a little wary of, but I look at their defense and say, man, why can't they go win this game? They did it last week against Auburn. I think South Carolina's offense is better than Auburn's, but with the way the Vanderbilt offense has been able to hold on to the ball and the way their defense is kind of ascending at the right time, I don't see why its defense can't pick it up today and Vanderbilt goes and wins this game.
Yeah.
I think this is a great week for the offense to be a little banged up. Obviously, South Carolina is not the best team they've played or anything along those lines. It's still capable of beating it, but I also don't think the Vanderbilt offense, like you said, has to go and throw for 300 yards today or has to generate 500 total yards of offense. I think it's just got to put together 2 or 3 touchdown drives, exploit what the defense has given them, and that's how you win this game. And that's how this team has had to win games at times. You look at Kentucky, you look at Auburn. Special teams make plays, the defense make plays, and you find a way to win. And that's what they've done the last couple of weeks, and I think that's even part of their identity at this point too, is just finding a way to win. They know how to win, and I think today could be a real example of that. The buzz is not huge surrounding this game, right? There's a good environment today, but it's rainy. There's a lot of circumstance that even you saw in that Georgia State game. That was the only time they really played in bad weather. I think today you look at it and say, man, if they know how to win, they can come in and win this game. And that's almost a determining factor of this game. Who knows how to win this game more? I think Vanderbilt might be that team.
I think so. And one more thing to remember on the South Carolina offense is that, yes, Sellers is big, he's physical, he's got all the skills and traits, but he's young, he's inexperienced. And so I think if Vanderbilt can take advantage of that, force some turnovers. I mean, they've done that against most quarterbacks they played this year. Yep. Quinn Ewers, a couple of interceptions. Milroe had an interception, a big sack late in the game. So if they can make him uncomfortable and force him into some, not even uncharacteristic, because he has made mistakes this year, you got to force him into some bad throws he doesn't want to make. For Vanderbilt on offense, I don't know. I'm struggling to talk about how they make it work today.
Yeah. Right.
And you've talked about that. Again, you have Pavia. Pavia's still there. And we've talked for the last 5-6 weeks how banged up he is heading into these games and really wondering about, his production and how he can help this team win. Well, he's found ways. I mean, he was 9 of 22 last week for, $150, 60. So, and he just made it happen. And again, he doesn't have to be spectacular. I think this is different from, obviously, the Texas game and even the Alabama game. He had to be Pavia. He had to be special. Yeah. He was more healthy. But now he's just got to do enough. But a key today, Skinner really hasn't shown up a whole lot in the last 3 or 4 weeks. And you saw him, when this offense is going, I think Skinner's catching passes. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying he's got to make 7-8 catches, but I think 3 or 4 big catches from Skinner today, I think is going to have to happen. Stowers has been bracketed pretty much every game since the Alabama game. But you talked about Cole Spence. I think some weapons need to step up that we haven't seen much of in the last 3 or 4 weeks for Vanderbilt to win, because I don't know that you're going to win it on the ground. South Carolina's defensive line, they don't blitz a ton, but they get pressure with 4, and they're going to really confuse Vanderbilt's offensive line. They've done it to everybody. I mean, they did it to Alabama. They've done it to everybody. So I think that we have to see something today we haven't seen on offense all season, whether it's a 40-yard touchdown from Skinner or another Sherrill 4th and 1 conversion. We haven't seen – this offense has struggled. And I think it's up to the offensive line to play a little bit better. Like if they have a C game today, good luck. Yeah, so the number one offensive line has to play better. But I look at a guy like Skinner. He's got to make some plays. A veteran guy, and they need to find more space than they've been able to find as of late. Pavia's also got to have time, though. I wonder how effective they'll be able to be through the air, because I think they have to be today. Yeah, I love that you bring up there's got to be guys who do some things that they haven't done throughout the year if they want to win this game, right? Stowers, I think, is going to be really heavily covered. I think Cole Spence got to step up and make a few plays. I think A.J. Newberry's got to make some plays in space. They have to be able to facilitate the ball to guys in space, and they have to be able to have those guys make plays downfield, right? If A.J. Newberry's got a one-on-one on the perimeter, he better be able to win that one-on-one. If Junior Sherrill's got the same thing, if he's got the ball, better be able to get some yards after the catch. That's going to determine this game for me. I think they're really going to have to utilize the short passing game today, because I wonder how much Pavia can really move. I wonder how effective Alexander is. I don't think he'll be on a snap count like he seemed to be last week, but still probably not going to be as effective as he was. I think Vanderbilt's going to have some guys step up. And you got a bug in your hair.
Oh, thanks. But yeah, I mean, the offense has got to make the timely play, got to get guys in space, and that's what's going to determine this game. It's not going to be, can they throw for 300 yards? Can they put together an Alabama-like performance? It's, can they do it when it matters most, and can guys who haven't done it do it? And I think that's a pretty dangerous proposition, but maybe you see a Tristan Brown make a play today. And I think they do have some depth offensively that maybe we haven't even fully seen yet to this point, and I think maybe today could be the day you see it. Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder if we see a Coleman appearance or a Tristan Brown or a McVay touchdown like we saw at Missouri. Joey, I'm already getting drenched.
And we don't have rain jackets.
Oh,
What are we going to do today?
You're so freaking dramatic.
We got to show some grit today.
Look at you. It's drizzling. It's drenched.
Hey, it'll be coming. It's going to be
You're
a wet.
so dramatic.
It's going to be a wet post-game show either way. So tune into that. But it's Vanderbilt in South Carolina, 3:15 kickoff. Stay tuned for our coverage on the board, on Twitter. We'll have rapid reaction and post-game press conference as well. So Vanderbilt, South Carolina, enjoy the game and stay tuned for our coverage.